So that's it. The final three is set. It is me, Claire, and Tucker. I am just second guessing everything. Emily wanted to do it. She told me multiple times. I was fine to oblige that because I thought a final three of me, Emily, and Claire was one of the worst outcomes possible for me. I was just not expecting Claire to win. And you know what? Good for her. She earned it.
One take, and it took me 54 seconds. 54 seconds. I can beat Claire. Claire is the #1 threat in the game. Why would you put the GOAT Emily into the final tribal challenge? The jury sees Claire playing an idol correctly. They see Claire playing from the bottom, getting votes, going to every tribal council, and playing her way into the end game. I don't understand Sean's perception on this. He basically gave away any shot at winning. Now I'm going to have to sandbag my own alliance member, who happens to be my girlfriend, to even have a shot at earning votes.
Claire, I think, would have to be considered one of the favorites, if not the favorite, to win the whole thing at this point. It's going to be an uphill battle for me and for Tucker to beat that. But also, I think at the end of the day, I still had the best game. I won the most challenges. I was a super strategic player. I was loyal the entire time. I didn't necessarily have to play from the bottom, but I never let myself get in the bottom. And should I be punished for that? I don't think so.
Day 28. That is a day that at the start of this game, I did not think that I would see. I got blindsided at the first tribal council and then went to every single tribal council thereafter. I had my name written down all but twice. I've been a target in this game just because I was an outsider for the entirety of the game. And I had to fight for my right to be here every single step of the way. I have outlasted, outwit, outplayed 9 people. If there's another person who's worked as hard as I have to get here, then please show me, because compared to Sean and Tucker, I feel like I have a pretty good chance at winning.
I think I faced some stiff competition from Claire tonight, less so from Sean, but whatever happens, I'm gonna look at tonight as an accomplishment. I think I have to play out my strategic and social game as a person who used information in certain ways to get further in the game. I have a bottle of champagne. We're gonna just quickly have a toast to myself and Claire and Sean, but mostly myself, for this great accomplishment that even if I don't win, I did win. To me and to Survivor Quarantine Island.
I'm a weird combination of nervous and at peace. I'm sure that the jury is going to not pull any punches, as I would expect them to, but also I think they're going to have a hard decision on their hands. I hope that by the end of it, they see that I played the most complete game. I don't think you can argue that. This is the part of the game that is, in a lot of ways, out of my hands. And whatever happens, happens.
What's up? It's juror number 1, 12th place speaking. Really, for me, it's between Claire and Tucker. I do have a few pending questions that I need answers to before I can make a final decision, but I really do think it's going to be a close call between Claire and Tucker.
I'm leaning towards Claire. It feels like the narrative arc of her game was by far the most interesting. When called upon, she has made it very entertaining. Played the idol, has been solid in challenges. Definitely earned my respect. Tucker, definitely respect the way he played. He was bullshitting me for 3 consecutive rounds, so that's a minor negative, but you also kind of respect the hustle. I don't think I can vote for Sean just because of the way that things ended between us, but I will say that out of me, Emily, and Sean, there's absolutely no doubt that Sean did the most legwork.
Planning on being an advocate for Tucker. I feel like it's not close as to who played the best game right now. I do believe that Claire had a really strong opening game. I did work with her when we had the tribe swap, and it really was Tucker and I leading that. And it sounds like that's sort of been the case throughout the rest of the game, where she's been a loyal member, has been able to keep her profile low, but ultimately hasn't been driving any of the votes. I just have a hard time finding a reason to vote for Sean. Strategically, it sounds like Emily was running his game.
I'm pretty positive I know who I'm going to vote for. There's definitely been one person whose style of gameplay I've really enjoyed. I can't imagine that the others in the final three are going to say anything to make me change my mind, but I'm open to hearing it, and we'll see how the final tribal goes.
Well played games by everyone. My main thoughts going into tonight are, where do Tucker and Claire's game differentiate from once they became on the same tribe? So I'm really torn going into this final vote, and really my thoughts and decision will be made in real time based on the answers that those two give.
I've narrowed myself down to two, definitely. I'm leaning toward one over the other. As for Claire, unfortunately, the bulk of her game, her really solid moves were made before I really even met her. For the three of them, I'm very proud of them. I think that I will be content with whoever wins this. My vote is still open. I know I've said I'm down to two, but that third person could sweep in here and blow me away, but I'm pretty sure I'm down to two, and honestly, going into tonight, I don't know which of the two I'm going to vote for. It's going to depend a lot on how they answer tonight.
I personally only got to play with Claire. Sean, I played with him for one tribal, essentially. He didn't really give me the time of day, and so for me, I'm probably down to Tucker and Claire. I'm most high, I think, on Claire at this time, but I do want to go into the final tribal with an open mind.
Alright, here I am practicing my water chugging skills because I didn't want to cost my team a relay race. Oh wait, actually that was Claire.
To Claire, we all respect you and admire your game, your tenacity. You've done incredible things this season, and you should be proud. To Tucker, what a competitor, someone who, even with their back up against the wall, never let down, always in high spirits, and always coming with a witty remark. Your social game was phenomenal. Everybody is happy to see you here at the finale tonight. To Sean, you've been a rival, someone that I've competed with for most of the season. You've always kept it classy, you've kept it civil, and that's more than I can say for myself. So, Sean, go get him.
All right, final tribal council, guys. Let's do it. We will now bring in your jury. Krista, Rachel, Julie, Phil, Zach, Rob, Tom, Eric, and Emily. Sean, Tucker, Claire, congratulations. It's truly a great accomplishment to get to day 29, but as you know, it is not the end. You've come as far as you can on your own, and tonight your fate shifts into the hands of the jury. 9 people who you voted out will decide tonight which one of you wins. Jury, some of you have been coming to tribal council for a long time, waiting for your moment to address these 3. So if you guys are ready, Sean, you can kick us off with your opening statement.
Thanks, Jeff. Thank you to the jury for being here today. Today, I am asking for your votes. I think at the end of the day, I played the most complete game of anyone who's left standing. I think I have a solid answer for everything that I'm sure the jury is going to ask me, and I am happy to take as much heat as I need to take. I don't think I played a perfect game by any stretch, but I do think I played a complete game, and I hope to make that case tonight.
Okay, Tucker, opening statement.
I would also just like to thank everyone who played with us. This was a pretty chaotic month, and I was really happy to just play a game that I love so deeply as a Survivor super fan, I'm asking for you to vote for me as the sole survivor and the recipient of that sweet $50, because I think I played the game that was the most aware of what was going on. I played the game at the highest level of perception. I wouldn't say it's a complete game. I don't think anyone here played a complete game. Out of the final four, we all played very similar games because we all relied on each other. But if you're gonna vote for someone who understood the dynamics of Survivor the most and was able to manipulate this version of the game to its most zenith level, then you should vote for me.
Okay, thank you, Tucker. And Claire, opening statement.
Yeah, so I want to thank everyone. I am so thankful to be able to have played alongside all of y'all. I had so much fun, and this was really a highlight of my quarantine. I was super nervous to play this game. I did not know how well I would do, but honestly, I think that I played a really great game. I think I played a really respectful game. I didn't have to do a whole lot of manipulating or lying. I stayed pretty loyal to the people that I said I was going to stay loyal to. And I stand by every decision and every action that I took in this game. You know, I'm the only person up here to play an idol and play an idol correctly. I went to every single tribal council, and I ended up winning immunity and the card making challenge to get here tonight. I think that I worked really hard. I worked my social skills to pivot every time I was on the bottom to stay in the game. And I'm really proud of that. And I do think that I deserve your vote.
All right. Thank you, Claire. Well, jury, this is the moment you've been waiting for. Some of you a lot longer than others. So let's kick it off with Krista.
Yeah, so obviously huge congrats to you guys. We are all pretty, we're still looking for a lot of answers. A lot of our minds are not made up completely. So with that, I'll just encourage you to speak your truth, speak honestly, take accountability for your actions. So I will dive into my questions. So obviously previous relationships play a huge role in this game, especially romantic ones. So I wanted to just give Tucker and Claire an opportunity to address that part of your game, how you dealt with that piece and who you decide to disclose that to and why.
Yeah, if it's not clear already, me and Claire are dating. As you all know, everyone had previous relationships. But I think the key part in maintaining and like what was difficult was not only keeping that under wraps, but the most important part was knowing when to release that information. And I would say that came about when I needed to earn trust the most. And that was after Zach was blindsided. And I, along with Claire, I think we came up with the idea to disclose that to Emily and Sean, because information is hugely powerful and we needed trust to form a huge alliance to make it this far. So I think managing relationships is the most important part of this game, and Claire and I were the ones who were able to conceal for as long as possible and then reveal when we needed to.
Yeah, and just going off of what Tucker said, you know, we were coming into this game pretty much as outsiders. We didn't know a lot of you that were playing, and y'all didn't know us, and you didn't know if you could trust us, how loyal we would be. So we didn't want to just put everything on the line. We didn't want to just, you know, show you all of our cards from day one. We wanted, you know, something to gain your trust. And we also didn't want to be seen as this, you know, double threat voting block if everyone did know about our relationship. And already being outsiders, it didn't make sense to add another target to our back. So we wanted to be playing as individual players for as long as we could, because at the end of the day, yeah, Tucker and I were dating, but my game is my game. I'm not going to let Tucker define my game and make my decisions for me.
So with that being said, Tucker, I would like to know why you deserve to win over Claire, and then Claire, I would like to know why you think you deserve to win over Tucker.
Claire made a good point in saying that we did play very different games. Claire is the extrovert. I am a scaredy baby cat when it comes to talking to people. But when we got to that point on the merge and we needed to work together, I would say Claire eased off the pedal. She kept the facade going that she was playing an underdog game, but when it came to making the real strategic decisions for us as a couple, I would say I was in the driver's seat.
I think that I definitely have the superior social game. Between the two of us, I was much better at talking to people, getting to know people, not just necessarily at a game level, but I was interested in just talking with y'all at the water well. I really did enjoy the social aspect of this game, and I don't think that Tucker excelled at that at all. But also,
I'm gonna cut you off right there. I never said you played a better social game. I'm saying you were more extroverted and you were more sociable. I think when it comes to a social game, there's different dynamics to it that I excelled at that you did not excel at.
well, I'm going to go ahead and say I played a better social game, in my opinion.
I disagree.
But also, I think that I had to work to stay in this game in a lot of different ways than Tucker did. You know, I was on the chopping block literally after I got blindsided. Krista, when you got voted out, I was blindsided. Tucker didn't even have to go to tribal council until the merge, or I'm sorry, the swap. So we played different games. I had to play a longer game than him because I started from that first tribal council. I found an idol. Tucker did not. I played that idol to stay in the game. Tucker did not. I had to build that house of cards to even get to final three. Tucker was brought to final three. I've had to really survive and outlast in ways that Tucker simply did not experience.
You're right. You played an idol correctly. And you were blindsided at the first vote. That's two tribals. We immediately swapped and began working together. So two tribals as the underdog isn't as good a story as it seems, especially when I was the one who helped my tribe win the immunity with my survivor knowledge on the second part of that quiz. I was brought to the final three, but wouldn't that be a plus for my social game because of the information I was able to give to Sean to make him feel like I wasn't able to beat you? I lied to him. I straight up just lied about how fast I could make a house of cards, so he decided to pit Emily against you instead. And also, to rebut the idol point, I didn't have to find an idol because I was able to keep one out of the game at the final six. Because I was aware at the time that everyone had used up their clues except for me because of how fast people were guessing for this one idol. And I knew, and I conversed with Jeff, that if I remained the only person with a vote, I could be the only one potentially guessing, and I could keep it out of play for the remainder of the game. And I would say that's a more strategic and aware way of looking at idols rather than just playing one.
I had something to say to Sean. I'm a very upfront person, and I really respect you and your friendship with my sister. I will not be voting for you tonight, and I just wanted to let you know.
Thank you, Krista. Rachel, you're up.
Hey guys, I just wanted to say congratulations. My question is for all three of you. If you were on the jury and the other two were still in the final two, which one of those two would you vote for?
Claire. Not from just a relationship aspect, but I do think she played a great game. And I do think that I just think I played a better one, but I do think that when it comes to misplaying an idol versus playing an idol correctly, and when it comes to winning immunities versus knowing how to find yourself into a majority of votes, I find that more impressive, and I think Claire did that better.
I think I would also give it to Claire. There is something to be said about playing from the bottom, which she did have to do a lot. And she totally caught a head of steam towards the end of the game. Don't get me wrong, I think there are some faults with Claire's game as well, but I do think between the two of them, Claire got hot at the right time.
I would give my vote to Tucker. And similarly, like Tucker, it would not be from a relationship aspect at all. I do think that he is extremely strategic, and I was consistently impressed with his strategy. I think that he always thinks one step ahead, which is really impressive. And he is physical. He won immunity when it was necessary.
All right. Thank you, Rachel. Julie, you're up next.
I just want to reiterate, congratulations, all three of you, for making it thus far. But my question to you is, what percentage of your game would you attribute to your strategy and or skill? And what percent are you attributing to luck?
The vast majority of my game did play out based on skills and strategies that I wanted to focus on coming into the game. I had a feeling I would be good at challenges, and I absolutely separated myself from the pack on challenges. I think the part of the game that boiled down to luck that factored in for me was, without a doubt, being placed on a tribe early on with people that I had pre-existing relationships with, and also that was really good as a team and didn't have to go to tribal a whole lot early. If there was an element of luck that came into getting me here, that leg up was totally it. But ultimately, the kind of game that I wanted to play strategically and playing into my strengths, I think I did everything I wanted to do when I needed to do it.
Percentage wise, I would probably go 80% strategy, 20% luck. I don't want to ignore the fact that the second half of my game, the part of the game that really propelled me here, was a lot due in part because of the tribe swap and the merge. Once the tribe swapped, I was in a much different position than I was on the original Pagong tribe. A lot of my game, though, and especially early on, I had to be really strategic to even get myself to the point where luck could take over. I think that a lot of my game was strategy and social game, so that when I was in the position that luck put me in, I was able to use it to my advantage and get to final three.
I would say it's 70-30, 70 being skill, 30% luck. I think we're lying to ourselves in the final three if we don't acknowledge the huge part that luck put us in. I was swapped into a majority of people I knew with my peers, with Zach and Claire. My starting tribe were people who I think were really good at challenges. Whoever people targeted when I was blindsided at the merge, I was lucky that it was not me. I think luck is a huge component to this, but I agree with Claire. It's what you do with the luck that determines it going forward. Back to my thing of when I was holding the idol hostage, that happened because I was driving home when the final clue dropped and everyone guessed in the 15 minutes that I was driving, or I assumed everyone guessed. And I was able to come to that conclusion just because of fate that day of I decided to drive somewhere for some reason. So luck is a massive part and it definitely helped me, but I would say that my strategy was to make decisions with that luck that I knew would benefit me, not just at the next vote, but on the final path to the end.
Thank you, Julie. Phil, you're up.
So first off, I'd like to congratulate all of you. Once again, all three of you, deserve to be up there. For my question, I would like to ask you to think hard about each of your games. I'm interested in hearing about the weakest part of your game. Why should I not vote for you?
So the worst part of my game would probably be Tucker's strongest part of the game, which was perception. I second-guessed a lot of decisions that I was in the process of making, and I think it muddied up some of the processes along the way and ultimately led to some decisions that either weren't as clean as they could have been or just outright weren't as effective as they could have been. I think about the idol that I played for myself when I didn't need to play it. I think that was an example of me not putting 100% faith in my own decisions to read the room a certain way.
If you're looking for the person who is the absolute most strategic on this final three, I can tell you it's not me. I relied really heavily on my social game and not on my strategic game. That didn't mean I wasn't strategic. I was strategizing. But I also fell to my social game and the relationships that I had built to kind of steer that strategy. And at the end of the day, that's not really what a good strategic player would do.
I would say for me, I would let paranoia either take over or I would ignore it too harshly. When it came to the Zach blindside, I knew he had an idol. I did not feel comfortable about Rob and Tom approaching him. I knew something was fishy and I told him to play it. And Zach ignored me and I could have pushed harder on that to save an ally and I didn't, and he got blindsided. That was paranoia not pushing me hard enough. On the flip side of that, when it did push me too hard was at the Eric vote out. I cut him off too early after the Thursday vote. I was like, I don't think I can work with you. I think that'll put a target on my back. And then when I realized that was too harsh, I doubled down and overcommitted socially. That was ammo against me. He took screenshots, or at least he was able to take that information, go to Sean and Emily and say, look how hard Tucker's playing. He's playing too hard. You need to get him out now. He plans to blindside you. That could have put me in his spot right now. And that is one of my biggest mistakes of the game.
All right, Zach, what you got?
So Sean, my question to you is, what was your rationale in bringing Tucker to the final three? And what was your hope for the outcome of the Emily Claire fire making challenge?
I figured that would probably surprise some people, but there were a few things that went into play. One was that Emily wanted to do it. She wanted to play her way into the final four. And I didn't make my decision explicitly based on that, but it did free up my thought process to kind of explore different possibilities. I did not want to give Tucker the opportunity to play in. I think one of the advantages I have on him is that I have been the more dominant challenge player, and I thought if he had the opportunity to play his way in, I would have a harder time separating the two of our games. I did not want to sit in a final three with Emily and Claire. I could see a situation unfolding where she and I would ultimately be like claiming credit for the same kinds of things, and we would either split votes and Claire would get the majority, or Claire would just run away with it. Honestly, I don't know if it was the right decision, but it's what I've had to live with, and there's obviously nothing I can do to change it.
Claire, my question for you is, what do you feel was your biggest move between the time where I got voted out and when Eric was voted out?
Biggest move was definitely when I decided to align with Sean and Emily and vote out Tom. It was clear that we had to draw some lines in the sand. I think that was probably the biggest move that we pulled.
Tucker, my question for you is, what move have you not talked about or that the jury might not have realized that you made that you think was integral in you making the final three?
I was strategic in not winning challenges. In the one with
Come
the
on,
quiz,
man. Give me a break. Strategic in not winning challenges. Like, if you would have won challenges, you would have enjoyed all the perks of having won challenges. Like, that is no less valid a strategy in the game than
I'm not saying it's
being
a
on
less...
the chopping block and having to maneuver. Like,
I didn't interrupt you when you were going on about how your ideal final three was putting you in a place where you're against a couple who's together. So please don't interrupt me. That being said, I think it is a viable strategy not to win challenges. I stepped down when it was you and me. I said, happy birthday. I didn't want to make that fucking decision. There's so many opportunities where it could go wrong, and it did for you. The best opportunity for you was to take off the necklace and get the biggest target out of the game, which was Claire, and you didn't do that.
All right, Rob, what you got?
Hey, folks. Happy to be here. And, really at this point, want to let you all know that I can't think of three people more undeserving to sit where you're at. Quite frankly, it's been a snooze fest. It's been quite boring. I've hated all three of your games. I think it's pretty much trash. So, Tucker, we'll go ahead and get started with you. Obviously, the reason that you're here is because I made a fantastic move in this game. It was bold, it was brash, and I voted Zach out. And my question to you is, one, why have you not said thank you, Rob, for putting me where I'm at? The second question is, if Zach was still in this game, if I had not voted him out, how would that have impacted your path to where you are today? Go ahead.
I haven't thanked you soon enough because I didn't want to tamper with the jury, but I'll do it now. Thank you. You did make the most entertaining move of the game, and it was the move that set me up to get here. If it was me, Zach, and Claire, I would have tried my hardest to pull Sean in because I would have noticed that your votes and Tom's votes, Eric's votes, I think, were going against him. I would have tried to get you guys out the soonest because you were the best at the game at that moment.
Sean, when we think about uninspiring games, when we think about people who are stale, who are very akin to cornflakes, your name pops out. You were good at challenges. You won a couple. That was neat. That's quite frankly not enough to win. So I'd like to open the floor to you. Sean, please, I beg you, convince me, have some conviction. What did you do? What was your big move? What was the grand architect, the design that got you to where you are today? And please, for the love of God, keep the challenges out of it because nobody wants to hear about that.
I think I played a much more strategic game than the jury might realize. I knew that pre-existing relationships were going to play a huge factor in this game. What I didn't do was stick to the people that I already knew. from the get-go, from the Toggy days, I was talking to Tucker and Zach. Sure, I was talking to Eric and Emily. Whether the NYC3 was ever really a thing, I don't think it really matters. I think if it did exist, it died on the Zach blind side because Emily and I couldn't trust Eric at that point. When the merge came, I had to put my faith in people that I didn't know, and building a pre-existing relationship with Tucker while on Toggy, who I had never talked to prior to this game, made that alliance of 4 that ultimately gelled together possible. That doesn't happen if I don't do that legwork early on of talking to people on Toggy and talking to people right after the merge to ultimately put myself in a position where I'm not fighting from the bottom all the time.
Claire, sweet Claire, gosh, you are the darling of this game. Everybody loves you. We've all been rooting for you. You know, that being said, Claire, it can't all be roses and daisies. My question to you is, do you feel that Sean and Tucker, with what they bring to the table, is better than what you bring?
Sean, talent beast, and a good social game. Tucker, like he's spoken to, has really amazing strategic abilities. That being said, I don't think that either of those two things necessarily makes them a better choice for a winner than myself. You know, I'm much more social, I'm much more adaptable, I'm able to play from the bottom. So it depends on what you're looking for in a Survivor winner, I guess is my short answer.
Thanks, Rob. All right, Tom.
Whose votes do you think you have and why?
There's at least one that I think that I can count on, other than apparently Rob's. I hope that, Emily, I have your vote. I know you played with Sean for a lot of this game, but if there were two people that were kind of going head to head for most of this game, it was you and me. I think that if I were in your shoes, I would probably vote for you. That's the only, person where I think maybe I might have a vote. I hope that I can convince, everyone on this jury to vote for me, but we still have a lot more answers to hear.
I count 3 people that I have never played with. I count Rachel, I count Phil, and I count Krista. I don't expect to get their votes. Rob, I hope when you watch the season back, you see how flashy I was in my confessionals and my strategy. So I hope I earned, if the final 3 did not have me, I would probably vote for Emily because we played very similar games. Sean, you said it was like your groundwork that helped form the 4. I would argue it was Emily and I's groundwork. And so I hope I've earned her vote. I've really made Zach a crux of the season. I bring him up every time we talked about tribal council, so hopefully flattery gets me a vote. Eric and Tom, I hope you can respect the game. I wasn't afraid to lie a lot to y'all. I was never going to work with y'all, but I hope you can respect that I'm a pretty good liar, and I'll have your votes.
I don't necessarily think I have anyone's vote. I'm not going to presume that I do. I think there's maybe a chance I have Emily's vote because she understands that I was much more of a strategic player than probably anyone else in the game realizes, because she was the only one that I really confided everything that I was thinking about with. I am more than just someone who won a bunch of challenges, that I did have to strategically position myself in the game to get here. Aside from knowing for a fact that I don't have Krista's vote, I'm not going to assume that I have anyone else's vote.
Okay, Eric.
My questions are all going to revolve around the theme of chaos. Tucker, do you want to go first?
Yes, please.
So we didn't talk at all until Zach got voted out. And then in the 3 tribals subsequently in which we talked, it kind of seems like you didn't say anything that was true to me at all. I guess my philosophical question is it really lying if everything is a lie? Can you just talk through the all-out lies to the people that voted out Zach strategy again and explain how you see that to be chaotic gameplay?
If you straight up tell people you're not going to work with them, you give them either no hope or hope to go somewhere else. And I don't want that. I don't want you thinking, I can't work with Tucker, I have to go somewhere else. I want you constantly thinking I'm an option. Telling lies and just getting people to even think you want to work with them is enough to bring chaos to a vote that may seem simple.
Claire, I arrived at Ponderosa and learned that it was you that used the disadvantage on me in the scavenger hunt challenge. Why did you pick me? Because I didn't come close to winning any challenges.
Honestly, obviously the disadvantage didn't exactly work. But I was in a position where I was starting to get the feel for this new alliance, and I just wanted to make sure that someone that was not in this new alliance was going to be at a disadvantage. And to be honest, you were just a person that I didn't really know.
All right, and then I'm gonna take it back to the infamous Zach vote to ask Sean a question. Personally, I thought it was a little soft of you and Emily to be so offended at a blindside that didn't kick one of you out of the game. It wasn't even like Zach was like a number one ally of yours. So if you could just explain the hurt feelings that resulted from a blindside that didn't directly affect your game, that would be helpful.
Yeah, so it didn't, but it absolutely could have. Emily was up for the revote on that vote against Zach. And if Emily's gone, or if Zach plays his idol, I mean, that blows up my entire game. And it wasn't so much that we were, that you were targeting Zach. Like, that's fine. It was more so that, and I think Emily felt the same way about this, was that you didn't trust to come to us and say, hey, there's this other thing going on. So from that point on, it became hard to think about strategy in the same way with you.
All right, Emily, take us home.
Obviously, congratulations. I think that of all the jury members, I'm probably the most on your sides. Given that this 4-person alliance essentially landed the three of you where you are, I'm curious as to your perception of how it was formed. Who in the alliance really fostered this creation and made it possible?
I think the crux of the four of us lands somewhere between you and I. You don't get Claire without me. Like, I was the one who was like, she's in my back pocket. She's the one I'm tightest with because we're dating and I can trust her all the way through. And she has no one else to go to. She can't get to you or Sean without me. And y'all needed a fourth person. You couldn't like stage an insurrection against Rob without another person. So between you and I connecting and finally like realizing our perceptions about each other were correct, it was you and I who really solidified it.
I was not one of these toggy 3, but I knew I was on the bottom of whatever Tom and Eric and Rob were doing. I mean, I wasn't even on the bottom. I wasn't there. I didn't really have many choices. So I saw an opportunity, and it's really hard for me to say who exactly started that alliance. I can pretty confidently say that considering I was the one Pagong coming into an alliance of 3 Toggy, there's not really a way for it to have been me. But again, I saw where the numbers were going. I saw an opportunity and I took it.
Speaking personally, and Emily, you can attest to this because you, me, and Rob had a conversation in the immediate aftermath of the Zach vote in which Rob revealed that Zach had outed that I was trying to organize a blindside on Rob on that vote. That basically left me with, okay, there's 3 people that just pulled off this vote. Rob's one of them. Rob wants nothing to do with me. There's this other group of people that also doesn't really know what just happened. And 2 of them are people that I have relationships with from Toggy. So I do think it ultimately boiled down to all Tucker, Emily, and I having communication with each other and all of us coming together and realizing, all right, like, this is how the game's laid out now. All we have to do is ride this thing out. And that's what we did.
All right. Thank you, Emily. All right, guys. I'm going to give you one last chance for a brief closing statement to sum it all up while the jury thinks about their final decision. Tucker, you can go first.
I know there's been a lot of sandbagging of each other throughout this whole process, but I just want to say, no matter what, I respect both Sean and Claire, the games they played. I enjoyed working with them, and I'm also going to respect your decision no matter what it comes down to. Every move I made, every challenge I was a part of, every DM I created, there was a strategy behind it. And I hope you can see that, and I hope you also think about when the 4 of us came to the decision to work together. Emily was safe, and Sean played an idol, and Claire and I were the only ones who actually put the trust on the line for the first time. And it worked out to our benefit, but I just want to say me and Claire had a plan all along, and I'm really proud of both of us for making it this far.
Okay, Claire?
I also want to say I had so much fun playing with y'all, and whoever you vote for, it's the right decision. And I appreciate you asking such thoughtful, insightful questions and listening to all of our answers. And at the end of the day, I'm really proud of my game. I think I played a really good social game. I had some strategic elements as well. I played from the bottom for the majority of this game. I saved myself correctly with an idol to even still be here today. I won individual immunity. I continued to find alliances where I needed numbers when I was on the bottom, and I built fire to even get here. I've been fighting since day one to get here in ways that the other two people up here just haven't really had to do. I have fought hard, and that alliance that Tucker and Sean and Emily and myself are in truly came at the right time. It was the perfect catalyst to get me here right now. And honestly, it was really the perfect ending to all of this. I'm really proud of my game, and I'm really impressed with their games as well.
All four of us have compelling cases to win this game, and there is no one that I would have rather gone to the Final Four with. And Claire and Tucker played excellent games, and there are no wrong choices here. And if the jury wants to reward certain things that don't play into the way I played the game, then that's totally fine. And it doesn't take away from the fact that this whole experience made the month of May so much better as we dealt with quarantine and the pandemic and everything else that's going on. So Shannon, thank you again. The only other case that I will make for myself is that I just hope that the jury realizes that there was more to my game than just hoping that I would win a challenge every day. I had to position myself between various different groups. I found an idol. I didn't play correctly for myself, but I still think it was the right play at the time. I got my perceived biggest rival out of the game in Rob after it was revealed to him that I was trying to get him out of the game. That took maneuvering. There was way more to my game than just the physical aspect. And if it's too late to have earned your vote on that now, I understand why, because Tucker and Claire make excellent cases for themselves. But I do hope you take that into consideration in casting your votes tonight.
All right. Well, thank you, Final Three. It is time to bring this season to a close. The jury will now vote on who they think is the most deserving of the title of sole survivor of Quarantine Island and the winner of the whopping, life-changing $50 prize. Claire, Tucker, or Sean. Jury, reminder that you are voting for a winner tonight. Final Three, you want to see your name on these pieces of paper. So for the last time, when I call your name, please message me your vote for a winner on Discord. Okay, for the last time, I will tally the votes. Now, we don't have to go back to LA or wait 6 months, but I am going to make you wait 5 minutes. This is the commercial break. Everyone, go to the bathroom, get your drink refill while I get these votes organized, because when we come back, we're revealing the winner and we're having the reunion show. So this is your time.